My dad never believed in me. He said I can't do it.
He all doubted me and I had to prove him all wrong.
I wish he could be a better son.
That just drove me to go that much harder.
So I don't know if that's a Christmas movie or if that's porn or if that's like a comedy. I don't know what that is. Is that anime? It doesn't look animated, but it might be.
It was called NBA Elite, I think 11. NBA Elite 11.
What is the highest paying item that you had ever sold through eBay?
It didn't get put in production. People stole the demo because it wasn't even a completed game. Technically, it might change now. When I sold it, there was only 10 ever sold. And so I probably was the 11th to ever sell one on eBay. So
You paid off your house with eBay.
one of the funniest ones, which was actually one that sold for a lot of money, was I didn't even know it was. It was like borderline gay porn.
You paid off your house with eBay. So there's obviously so many different questions that you could jump off from there. But I guess for starters, I've known you my entire life. But you actually paid off your entire house using eBay, of all things.
Mm-hmm.
But since I've known you, you've always done kind of like little schemes here and there.
Yeah.
And the ones I'm thinking of is specifically when I walked into your room and I was like, what is this? And there was 20 phones.
Yeah. I remember. It was called phone farming. That's what it's called. Yep.
Yeah, all plugged into just literally one outlet. And I was like, what is going on?
Yep. Hey, I made a little bit of money for doing nothing in my defense, and I got all those phones for free.
From that, or even the going to, not the casino, but the arcade at the casino, mastering certain games
yep.
to then get the high ticket prizes and reselling them.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is I've always known you for these little like schemes, but the one thing you ended up using to make a lot of money was eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, how did you even, get onto using eBay to make money?
So basically, I wanted to pay off my house. And at the time, I was actually in a relationship, so I already had plans, and then it kind of fell through. And I was like, God, I really just want to pay off my house because they got a bunch of other things I want to do, and I don't make enough money where I can't just take off my job consistently. So I was like, okay, I want to pay off my house. I want to do anything possible to pay off my house. So basically, I went up to my job and I say, I want to max out my time and work as many hours a week as humanly possible. And they said no. So I said, okay, now I got to go figure out how to make more money. So
how many hours would be humanly possible for you at your job?
My job is physical intense labor, so it'd be hard. It's probably 70, but I was going to try to do 80. So then I was like, okay, I need to try to find a second job. And I was like, okay, I can take a lot, but having 2 physical labor jobs while balancing a schedule was going to be extremely tough. So I was constantly looking up stuff on the internet. What can I do? What can I do to make more money? So
when you were looking up stuff, is this when you found like the phone stuff?
Yes, I had the phone stuff before because I was trying to find stuff where I didn't have to put a lot of time in. But at one point, I gave up and I said, I'm just going to sacrifice hopefully a year and a half of my life. I did the math and I was like, okay, this is what I need to pay off my house. I'm going to sacrifice a year and 2 months of my life and pay it off.
How much was that? Like, what was the number?
I needed $85,000 to pay off my house. I had $85,000 left.
That's not much.
Yeah. I was already blessed in a good situation, and that's why I said I just want to get it done.
Well, how much was the house?
My house was only $120,000, and I put $20,000 down on it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was $100,000, and then I had it for about 3-4 years, so it was about $88,000 I had left to pay.
So you're looking at paying $85,000 off, and like, how do I get $85,000?
Yeah. So basically, at my job, I made like $15 an hour, and I was like, okay, 40 hours a week. My yearly income would be like 40-something thousand, maybe like 30,000 really after taxes and everything. 24,000 after taxes. So I was like, okay, I need to try to get to like 75, 80. So if I hit 80 hours a week at what I was getting paid, I would make about $4,000 a month. So I was like, okay, I need to come, and I already had a decent amount of savings because I had roommates, didn't spend a lot.
Yeah,
so I was already blessed.
You spend literally nothing.
Yes, I live a very basic lifestyle.
You could almost be on what is that show? I don't know what it's called, but they come up with these like crazy ways of saving money.
Oh,
like they
yeah.
don't use their wash machine; they wash all their
Yeah.
clothes in the sink or something
Yeah.
like that. But the sink has been filled for like 3 months because they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
like flush the water.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, no, we just need some water and some
Yeah.
drying time.
If I didn't have like
I'm
a
not
decent
saying
amount
you
of
do
savings-
that.
No,
And if you're listening, Josiah does not do that.
I don't. But if we're also being honest, if I was low on money, I would definitely do stuff like that. I would do crazy stuff like that if
Yeah,
I had
you
to.
would. You would.
But I got enough money where I'm like, okay, I don't have to do that. I can let that go. I can let that
Yeah,
slide.
I mean, I can't say there's not too many people that would have the 20 phones
Yeah.
just sitting there trying to make money.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
not all of them were. They were all in very different conditions.
I got them all handing down, so I got them for free. Free 99, baby.
I do also remember getting a phone call saying, hey, you got
Got
any
any phones?
I
Yeah.
was like, why do you need phones?
Yeah. Hey, I made like $500 off that, and I didn't have to pay a dime.
Well, not to get sidetracked. I just thought the phones was funny.
It was funny. But basically, back to the point. Yeah, so I needed to basically save up 85,000. I think I started with like 20 or 30,000. I think that's where I was at, and I was like, okay, so I need to make about 50,000. That's why I said, okay, I need to work the 80 hours a week to get about $1,000 a week, 4,000 a month, and about a year and 2 months, I'll get to the 85,000 mark. But they told me no, so then I started looking at other stuff. Then I saw eBay, and I was like, okay, let me try eBay. So I started trying it, and then I started like playing around with like I did the phones. I always test stuff out. I'm not saying it's going to work when I first do it, but I test everything out just to see if it has like potential.
How long do you test something for? And one of the reasons I'm asking is a lot of people will look at this because I still get ads for it. I've never not, ever since I've been on social media, I've never not gotten an ad for either a pyramid scheme, how to get rich, how to make money, how to pay off your house, how to be a millionaire. That's the big one.
Yeah.
But with eBay, I guess my question was like, how long did you use to test before you actually knew this isn't just like, make a few extra, money? Or
I did a lot of research in the beginning, but I did about hours and hours of research, and I went outside, tested, and I started doing math. I was like, okay, I buy this, sell it for this. I was like, how much do I make? Had to do trial and error. Obviously, it's in the beginning, so I was doing trial and error.
So I guess what would be an example of something that like you did from your first sale, like when you're first testing it out?
So my first sale, I went to Dirt Cheap. It's called a Gaylord. That's what it's called. It's a big box of DVDs that they're just trying to get rid of for super cheap. And I was looking up stuff I could buy and sell, looking up anything from sneakers to DVDs to all that. I tried it a long time ago for a second, but I didn't give it a real shot. But this time I was really committed to trying to give it a real shot. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try something easy that you don't have to have a skill in the market for. Like clothes, you kind of almost have to have a skill for you got to look up the brands, know what's good, know what's not. You can't just, on a DVD or a game or things that have a barcode, you can just scan it and it pops up and it's just easy.
So
you
you
can
were
just see
looking
it.
for a niche.
Yes.
Or niche, however you pronounce that
Niche,
word.
yes.
But not wanting to commit hours to that.
Not wanting to commit hours to try to learn completely from scratch everything about a brand that I know nothing about.
Some people like to say, like, oh, how do I be lazy? You weren't saying how do you be lazy. You were saying how do I be efficient?
Yes, basically. And so when I was at the Dirt Cheap, bought a few, tested it out. I was like, okay, let me see if I can really make it sell. Let me see if it's real sell or won't sell. So tested it out, sold one. Probably not for the greatest price, but it was new. I probably didn't even know everything, but probably made 50 cents on it. Not really worth anything. But then as I just kept looking up stuff, figuring everything out, going through, okay, eBay takes this much out the fees. It cost me this much to buy the envelope. Just doing all the math, I slowly just got better at it and just started taking off from there, basically.
I know one thing you told me was when you were looking for DVDs specifically, and you sold all kinds of stuff, but when you were looking for DVDs, eBay actually on the phone has a part of their app where you can actually use the camera, scan the barcode, and it pulls up other people selling that item and for what price it's selling for.
That's why the barcode's the easiest because, like you said, it's efficiency. You can just see it and you can say, okay, you run your numbers. You can see, is it worth it, not worth it? Is it selling? Is it not selling? You don't have to, like I said, go try to figure out what brand it is, type in all this stuff. It's just scan, done.
Yeah, I've actually done it because you told me about it. I would literally go in places and be like, wow, that seems kind of cheap. Like, what is that selling for? Or like I'll get a gift for Christmas that I don't want, or a birthday or something like that, or just something that's literally I don't need this. I don't need this at all. Or maybe I might have it in the house. I haven't used it in a while. I'll literally just scan it on eBay, see what it's worth, see if it's actually worth my time, like selling with minus the fees and everything. But I guess my next point is you didn't just sell DVDs.
Yeah. So actually, I was trying to do games at first because I was like, I knew a little bit more about games, and games were a little bit harder to find. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to backtrack this. And that's when I looked at DVDs, and I said, okay, DVD seems like it's a niche that sells, but a lot of people are not into it. DVDs was a good opportunity because a lot of people look at it like from the quick rich games. A lot of people only go for like the big DVDs. They only want to go for things that like say, okay, this sells for $50. I bought it for $1. I make $49. So they feel good. But I said I didn't care about how much work I did. I just cared about making the most money and making the most out of my time. So basically, I would do the math to get it right to figure out how much I could sell, the lowest amount I could sell for, and still make more than I did at my other job. And because of that, people didn't want to pick up those DVDs that they thought was not, air quote, worth their money. And so I constantly went out. When I constantly went out, I constantly kept buying DVDs because nobody would pick those up because they all thought, it's not really worth my time to buy something for $1, sell it for $5, and I make $2. But sometimes it also depends on how long it takes you to process all that. So like if you process it really fast, you can make like $25 an hour. $25 an hour is more than I make at my other job. So I'm actually making more money than I am at my other job. And that's basically how I did it. I would get everything I could get, but I would figure out the lowest I could possibly buy and still make more money than at my other job.
Yeah, but I mean, so you're making more money at your other job, but you're not touching that money at all.
Yeah, basically. Well, at eBay, I was making more money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when you started, you essentially was like, okay, how do I make this money? I know how much I need to make. Did you have a time frame?
Yeah, I was like, basically, I wanted to do it in a little over a year. That was the most I wanted to take, but I had the goal to do it in 1 year. That was my goal.
Would you have committed to like 5 or something like that, or something longer?
No, well, not with the work I was doing, because for me personally, I was working on average about 90, 95 hours a week. That was my hours I worked. I worked about 40 at my other job, well, 40, 45, and then I worked about another 45 at eBay, 50. So basically, when I got home, sleep, get my 8 hours in, and then I would just work the whole time almost every week. Basically, yeah, it took me 1 year to get everything done. The amount of money I made on eBay was about, the sales wise, I think I did about $175,000, and I took home about 55, 60, I think, and then I had to pay taxes on it, and that was about 10,000, I think. So 40 plus the other 30 at my other job. Technically, I made like 90,000, 85, 90,000 that year.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, you're just throwing out numbers. So
Yeah.
IRS, if you're listening, this isn't actual numbers. These are just guesses, okay?
Yeah.
These are just whatever. They're just numbers. Maybe he made 600,000. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it was all in cash. Maybe he didn't pay all of his tax. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No.
But so you had a deadline, and I guess that was also for your sanity too, because you were probably thinking, how long can I do this and sustain 90 hours a week for?
Yeah, so the good news is physically it wasn't that bad. I mean, obviously I was tired after every day, being on your feet all day. Mentally is when it started taking a toll.
Now, one of the things your story also reminds me of is like all the stuff Gary Vee says of like do garage sales. You can find like gems there and make tons and tons and tons of money. It's literally the same thing you were doing just through eBay. So like what is some of the places that you would go to outside of what you mentioned is dirt cheap?
So like you said, I would go to garage sales a little bit, but I'm not a big morning person. And in order to go to garage sales, you really got to wake up early at the 7 a.m. dawn mark. Because I remember like my parents, they have a special garage sale where they can only do it like 2 times a year, and it's a big one. And one time I tried to go there, and I woke up early, actually. I woke up at 8, and I get up there, and I see people in trucks just pulling up, taking a ton of stuff, and they're all doing the same thing I'm doing, and they're out there earlier than me doing that. So garage sales is a good one, but you have to really make sure you wake up early to get there to get the good stuff. But basically, I mostly did the Goodwills, dirt cheaps, pawn shops, stuff like that.
How far did you have to travel to get some of this stuff?
The farthest I traveled, an hour and a half.
That's there? Or
Yes.
there and back?
There.
Oh, wow. So that's a commitment.
Yeah, those were on my days off for those type of travels. That's when I was off my other job. I would go for the hour and a half one on purpose.
Now, so from some of the stuff you got, I can remember I remember you coming back and being like, "Yeah, I bought 25 basketballs today." I was like, "What are you talking
Oh
about?"
yeah, that was nice. That was on Secret Walmart clearance. Yeah, they that was actually some of my biggest hits. Was Secret Walmart clearance. They what they do is they secretly mark down stuff that you don't know about for dirt cheap. I'm not 100% sure if it's a glitch in the system. I'm pretty sure it's not. But basically, you get stuff dirt cheap and can resell it.
How did you find out about any of that?
Just on YouTube, and then tested it out, and then the biggest one, I followed the page where people find it and posted it, and then you just travel. And the thing is, sometimes it's in your region, sometimes it's not, and there's no way of knowing, so you just got to check it out. And the biggest one was the games and the basketball one. Those are the two biggest ones. The games, I probably made about $1,000 in like 3 days or something off of these games I got. I got them so cheap. I just bought them in bulk, ran to every Walmart within a 50-mile radius.
So people talk about side hustles, but this was more of a second full-time job.
Yeah, mine was a second full-time job. Yes, once I started, I can make money, and then I just committed to it. It became a second full-time job.
Now I do know, just from your house, I walked in and literally there was just not just mountains of CDs, but like racks. You had bought racks and stuff to just house and store all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I remember walking in and, like you said before, I wanted to bring it back, of you would buy whatever it is that you knew you could make $5 off, or $10 or 15 or 20, and $1 DVD can be sold 20, 25, depending on which one it was.
Yeah.
I remember some of them, I don't know how else to say it, but they were rather weird movies. I was like,
yeah, I got some weird ones. Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's a Christmas movie or if that's porn or if that's like a comedy. I don't know what that is.
One of the funniest
is
ones.
That anime? It doesn't look animated, but it might be.
One of the funniest ones, which was actually one that sold for a lot of money, was I didn't even know it was. It was like borderline gay porn. It wasn't gay porn, but it was pretty close. And someone's like, "You do know that's gay porn?" I was like, "Dude, I'll be honest, I didn't even know this. I was just scanning and going. It was worth $75, and I took it and I sold it. I wasn't even paying attention."
So you just like you just scanned it, and was it until you got home that you actually looked at it and you're like, "Oh."
Someone else told me. Someone else was like, "Dude, Josiah, this is like gay porn." I was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice." I thought it was something that was gay, but I was like, I didn't even know it was gay porn. I was like, it was worth $75. I took it and ran with it.
So that's $75. What is the highest paying item that you had ever sold through eBay?
So actually, I really got blessed on that. I found a super rare game. I can't believe I found it. It's really a once in a lifetime thing. People think they'll find it, but it's people who's probably been in the thing for years and years, and they probably get this one hit. And I just got blessed, and I did it literally 5 months in. I found a super rare NBA Elite game. Basically, it didn't get It did not get put into production and got destroyed, but people from GameStop took it and kind of got spread in the market a little bit. And basically, that sold for about $10,000. That one game sold about $10,000.
What was it?
It was called NBA Elite, I think 11. NBA Elite 11, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. It didn't get put in production. People stole the demo because it wasn't even a completed game, and it got put out in the market a little bit. Technically, it might change now. When I sold it, there was only 10 ever sold, and so I probably was the 11th to ever sell one on eBay. So,
wow. So did eBay like verify you for something with that much money or something like that?
Actually, no. Like, you mean verify the game?
Just you or the game? Because I know they take things down from.
No, because at that time I already had a ton of sales. So I was fine. I had a ton of sales, ton of everything. Actually, a dude I know was trying to scam somebody. He took a picture of my game like off of eBay, like screenshot, and was trying to sell it on eBay. So I already knew he was trying to scam people.
Oh, wow.
So his probably got taken down, yeah.
So you went from selling $5, $10, $75. What was it like to put something out there that's worth $10,000? Were you just like, nobody's got to buy this?
Dude, I couldn't believe it, but then I did start getting offers. It was slow because it's such a large amount of money for one single game. So it was slow getting the offers, but I started realizing people would actually offer it to me because I got people say $4,000, $5,000, because I put up there for like $20,000. And I was like, okay, I put up there for 20. I don't need to sell it to the end of the year. Let me see the most possible I can get out of it. And throughout the whole year, the highest offers I got was $10,000. So finally, at the end of the year, someone finally offered it to me, and I was like, I'll take it. But I'm not going to lie, it felt like nice to have something that no one else has, but I was like, I don't care, I want to get rid of it.
You're probably kind of nervous basically holding $10,000 just
yes
This could be it.
Dude, when I was in the pawn shop, how much I bought it for?
Yeah,
I bought it for $1.
You bought it
That's
for
for $1. Yeah, I bought it for $1.
Dude, I don't even know what the percentage is on that conversion rate.
Yeah, I don't know either. But dude, I was freaking out. I couldn't believe it was real. I stood in the pawn shop for about 20 minutes just researching, like, is this real? There's no way. I lucked out and found this.
How did you not immediately just buy it and leave?
Cause I was like trying to double check. Basically, I was just standing there. And I was like, there's no way this is real. I could not believe it was real. I checked the disc, checked everything. I was like on YouTube looking at it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's real. And so then it was so funny because I actually had like a little meeting I had to go to. Like, guys, I'm not coming to the meeting. I'm not coming. I was like, I just found something rare. I'm sorry, guys. You can give me my points for this one. I got to make sure this is real. This is 10,000 on the line right now.
Wow. So how much did you have saved by the time you had gotten that game?
I don't know. I was probably somewhere around 50-ish, 60 at the time. I was halfway through.
And you weren't just like putting money on your house or anything, right? You were just saving it.
I was just so focused on that. That's all I was doing.
And then I guess what was the reason for you wanting to pay off your house? Because I know many people will look at like side hustles or try to find whatever it is to make some extra money. And their goal is because things are expensive. They want to make extra money for their family. Mm-hmm. They want to either become a millionaire. Mm-hmm. I guess a lot of people do also want to buy a house or pay off their house. But what was your reason for choosing that versus literally anything else?
So I kind of had two reasons. One, because like I said, I was in a relationship looking to possibly start a family soon. So I wanted to, one, put us in a great position. And two, so we can also do stuff together and not worry about money at all, no matter what job we had. But for me, even after the relationship ended, it was also because I wanted to do what I wanted to do and be free, so I can go enjoy the stuff that I wanted to do. Go hang out with friends whenever I want, go take vacations whenever I want, but even more so, like, I love to play sports. I wanted to play sports whenever I want and not have to worry about how much money I make, because I had to make sure I work enough hours to hit my quota to make sure I don't lose money.
Yeah, and you committed about a year's worth of time, maybe more, and you're still kind of doing it a little bit on the side.
Yeah,
I think.
Mostly just trying to get rid of all the stuff that's in my house. That was one of the downsides because of how I was buying.
It's a lot.
It was over. I think how many. I could look at my phone really fast to see how many items I still got listed.
Yeah, that's fine. I know one thing you had said was during it, I'd see you and like, Josiah, what have you been up to? You're like, literally just working eBay. That's it. And from what I understand, you had about zero social life.
Yes, during that time, I had no social life whatsoever. And my mom would get mad. She would call me and say, son, we're going to do this. I'd be like, oh, sorry, I can't come. Yeah, you could take a day off. No, I can't. Because I knew if I take a day off, it was going to breed more bad habits, to be honest. I know me. Because in the beginning, it was fun. It was new. It was exciting. But just like anything, you work 40 hours a week at it, it becomes a job. It's no longer fun no more.
Did you ever contemplate quitting your job to specifically do eBay? Because you're now making more money at this, and you could probably have less to deal with, less headache, less people to deal with than you would at your work. So did you ever think about leaving that just to do your...
Yes and no. I did think about it, but it's not really less headache than at my job, to be honest with you. Running your own business, it's really not less headache. It's technically more until you build it up to a certain point. Then it becomes less, but it takes time, years, and everything like that to build it up. So I did contemplate it though, because I was making more money, like you said, and I just wanted to be free. But I do like my job, and my job is good for the most part. And like one of the best things about my job, I can, within reason, make my own schedule. If I want off, I can get off. If I want to take a week vacation, they'll give me a week vacation. So I was fine with my job I had, and I didn't see there any reason for me to quit my job.
So usually when there's a goal or a plan, something to aim at, like a archer shooting a bow and arrow, you can know better what to say yes to and what to say no to. So when questions like that come up, inevitably, because it happens to all of us, when you're like, okay, I'm making more money here, should I quit my job and then just do this thing full time? I'm my own boss. I don't have to answer to nobody. Most people would say yes, and they're going to quit their job and they're going to do that thing. Mm-hmm. But you had a goal to pay off your house. You had an exact plan, so you're able to tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to continue to work as many hours as I can, make extra money, and commit to this. Because I believe now you're still working at your job,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, you're just trying to get all that stuff sold off.
Yes.
Which I guess brings me back to my next question is, or I guess a question we had before, how much stuff was it that you sold through eBay in total?
Okay, I can give you an estimate right now off the top of my head. Well, at my peak, I was selling between 20 to, during the Christmas time, it was 50 items a day.
Christmas?
That was Christmas. I was selling 50 items a day. So, yeah, so 20 items a day on average, 25 probably closer to average. So 25 times that by 7. Let me see. Because that was a day. So 25 times 7 times that by 4 times that by 12. It was probably close to 10,000 items, a little over 10,000 things I sold that year. Probably over 10,000.
Wow. So on average, I guess how much was each of those transactions? Excluding the $10,000 video game.
Ooh, that one's tough. I really don't know that one off the top of my head. I can go back and look at it if I really wanted to. But if I had to guess, it's probably around $8, $9. Well, if you include the shipping, it'd be probably like 10 or 12 probably.
Wow. You must have been very close friends with whoever you were shipping with.
Okay.
How many times did you have to visit like UPS or whoever it was?
A lot. Every day. I went every day. It was just a roundabout trip. I had to go every day because could you imagine trying to get the brain power to wake up and do 100 items?
So did you buy all the boxes for that as well? Did you have just like a stack of stuff to send it?
So the good news is for DVDs, video games, and books, you can buy envelope slips, which is the cheapest, and you can use UPS Media Mail. And so
there we go. Not being lazy, being efficient.
Yeah. So that was all pluses. And then where I worked too, I also got free boxes, so I didn't have to pay for anything. So
nice.
I also got free boxes to ship out stuff. Like if I ever sold anything big that wasn't a game or anything, I can use those. So that was also another plus for me.
So in total, I guess just to wrap everything up, you basically needed to pay $85,000 to finish paying off your home. You also, I think it was 150 you said you made?
Yes.
In gross, like
yeah,
the
gross,
total
yeah.
amount, not how much you actually took
Yeah.
home.
I probably took home closer to 50, yeah.
You worked 90 hours a week. You had no social life, no vacations, no nothing,
Yeah.
no friends, relationships, or anything. It was like pure sacrifice. You actually still had a full-time job. So if somebody wanted to do something like this, because I imagine when people click on the video on like how to pay off your house through eBay or like eBay money making machine, when they click on this, they're going to be looking, okay, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
How do I do what he did? How do I make money through this? And some people might already be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to them?
It's hard, but like I would say definitely do research and just trial and error because every spot's different and everybody's situation is different. Like for me, I had my own house, so I didn't have to worry about, say, storage. So that was just another thing I didn't have to worry about. If you live at home, like say you're an 18-year-old kid living at your parents' house, they might not want all that crap in their house. So you might have to try to brainstorm and be like, okay, I might have to go a little smaller. I go with something like shoes that's higher price, make more money, but harder to find depending on your area and stuff like that. It just depends on all that. That was one thing, like, because I traveled everywhere. And like even I heard a lot of people say it. It all depends on where you're at and what you find. Some places are better for, say, clothes. Like clothes were a lot better commodity because it was like a lot of richer people, so they would give a lot of more expensive hand-me-downs and stuff like that. So like that might have been a spot where you go for clothes a little bit more.
So richer areas, you were looking for specific things.
Yeah, more times, yeah. So like all that would play a part into it. You kind of got to feel out where you're at.
And did you sell internationally?
I did a little bit, but it's really not. It's really hard. You really only want to sell something that's like a really big price internationally. Because a lot of fees come out, it's a pain, it can get lost, and all that can happen.
So I guess really the advice is to do your research. If you're going to commit to it, and be ready to just literally slave away and get the job done.
Yeah. Well, the positive side, it's all about you. That's the positive side. The negative side, it's all about you. Because it's all about how hard you want to work, how much time you want to put in, how much you want to grow. Because in a job, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to work this hard and get this much more money. There is no that. It's just you get set pay, set everything, no matter what. Here, you work harder, you make more money. You come up with new ideas, you make more money. But if you come up with the wrong idea, you also pay the price for it. At a job, you don't pay the price if you come up with a bad idea or you mess up. Here, you pay the price for it. So like with me, for instance, I was always going the cheapest route with UPS Media Mail. It's the cheapest way to ship. It's really a cost afford shipping. And then one month, it was a busy month, and I kind of paid the price for going the cheapest route. And I probably lost about $1,000 that month in money, because whenever the post office gets backed up, you are the first person, the UPS media, you're the first person to get backed up. So then you got people calling you, where's my stuff? And I'm like, the UPS media has it. They're backed up. They said they're going to get it to you. And they're like, they don't care. It's all about the customer. They don't care. They want their stuff when they want their stuff when they're promised. I'm like, I can't do anything about it. I did what I was supposed to do. I shipped it out the moment it got bought. I gave it to the media mail. They're like, we don't care. So then I have to refund them. I tell the post office, hey, y'all screwing me over. Y'all not getting the stuff shipped out. They say, oh, you get backed up. It does not matter. We're sorry. It just does not matter. So then I basically had to cut to my profits a little bit and go a little bit higher on my price for like choosing a better shipping option. So that didn't happen, because that month was the worst month ever. I was calling people, texting
hundreds of people.
Yeah, and then eBay tech support. Oh my gosh, people from India left and right, and not one of them could speak English for the love of my life. I was so mad.
That sounds like a big deal, but it's absolutely a big deal, and you're like, yes.
Please, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, especially if you're new, you don't know what's going on, you got to figure it out, and you're like, oh, and I got somebody from Slidell miraculously one time, the best one ever. Everything went so smooth. Him explaining to me how everything went down and everything. Oh, it was so nice, because I was just trying to figure all that out. And I was like, oh, and it's a pain because you don't sleep at night, because at the same time, you got to give all these people their refunds. You're losing money, and then as you're losing money, you're also saying, well, if they give me a bad rating, is that going to affect me selling? Is that going to screw me over later? Even though it's something I couldn't control, even though it's something I didn't do, but is that going to screw me over later? Yeah. So. And that's like that's the downside of having your own business with stuff like that.
So they always say there's two ways to learn from doing and then learning from others. There's really not much. Now you can actually learn from others because they've listened to the podcast, but there really was no way for you to learn that without actually just doing it.
Yeah. You could research all day, but sooner or later, there's going to be stuff that you just don't know is going to happen. Like in business, something always goes wrong. That's why, like, when I did my math for figuring out how much I was going to make per hour, I built in a little buffer system, saying, hey, I know I'm not going to know everything. I know I'm going to mess up somewhere. Let me build in a buffer system. Because I was like, okay, if I sold this for this, and this talks me this long to do everything, I was like, okay, I'll make about $20 an hour on the lowest end. Which thank God I did, because I wound up messing up and missing the fee that eBay takes out. And I went down to 15, which is right where I was making for eBay. That was for my lowest items. So I was like, okay, thank God I put the buffer system in, and now I know about that.
Yeah, there's a quote I've said in a few podcasts now, but it's, do not look at what dimly lies at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. And it basically just means you want an $85,000. Don't look at the $85,000, but just do what's in front of you. Sure, yes, do the research, but at the end of the day, it's got to get done. It's like this podcast. I can never get to episode 100 if I never do episode 1. I can never get more efficient at talking to people, interviewing people, learning new ideas if I never just basically get to do the work. You know, it may suck at first, but eventually you'll figure it out.
Yeah. But so yeah, that was basically how it is. And the funniest part was, I didn't say this, but a lot of people were kind of like, what is he doing selling a DVD for $4? How is he basically only making $1? How can you make money doing that? Some people were like that at first, but like I said, it's all about time, efficiency, and everything like that. Because on eBay, someone said that before. They were like, how is this guy making, which I didn't even know this until I did all the research and everything myself. People sell this stuff for let's say a big company sells a DVD for like legitimately $2-3 on eBay, and maybe they got it for 10 cents. They bought it in bulk buy, but after fees and everything, you're like, okay, it costs $3 to ship. Well, at the time, inflation now, that's way more now, but it costs like $3 to ship, and then eBay takes out their 10%, and then you also have to pay $1 no matter what on fee costs no matter what. And it's like these people make like 10 cents plus their labor. They got to be not even making money. But when you look at it, sometimes you also get special rates. Like, because you're so big, they'll give you a discount on shipping. That can help too. This is like a production line. People are just moving stuff in at extremely fast rates and getting it out. Like, if I could ship something out in a minute, but they could ship it out in 20 seconds, it becomes way worth their time. They just tripled my productivity in an instant. And so now it becomes worth it, where before it wasn't worth it, but now it becomes worth it. So sometimes it just depends on how fast you move, how fast can you put everything in a productivity line. All that matters.
One thing that I didn't mention before, and I'll probably start get to the closing, but it was the question of, does volume negate luck? And it's not me asking you, but it's a question I ask myself on literally everything that I see. Does volume negate luck? And in your case, it absolutely does. You weren't looking at finding a video game worth $10,000,
Yes.
going from 1 to 10. You were looking at, okay, how many times could I do this? How often can I get this done? How much could I make through volume to negate any of the luck that people see when they see, oh, this guy paid off his house? Everybody wants to doubt you essentially when you first start, and they're like, what the hell is he doing? Just making $5 on it. He's not going to get rich that way, or he's not going to be able to pay off his house. But you were looking at it as, okay, 5 times this, times this, times this, times this. That's the first question. How do I go to the next question? Okay, now how do I make this more efficient? Okay, maybe it's DVDs. Okay, maybe I can do this. And along the line, you find out everything behind you was 2020. Hindsight's always 2020. But my question is, does volume negate luck? And absolutely it does. You ended up getting lucky because of volume, and you found a DVD, or I'm sorry, a game worth $10,000. But anyways, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to get into either just selling on eBay or even drop shipping or whatever it is that you want to do as a side hustle, eBay could be a very viable option, whether it's going to Dirt Cheap or garage sales or Goodwill or wherever it is that you're finding a discounted item. You could, like Josiah, literally make over $100,000 in the span of a year, or less or more. It doesn't matter. You can actually do it. Anybody can do it.
Yep, anybody can do it. It's all about how hard you're willing to work and how much work you're willing to put in.
But outside of that, thank you, Josiah, for being on the podcast. Your story was super awesome, and I was really excited to talk about how somebody could literally pay off their house using eBay.
That was fun being on here. It's really not good at talking, but it was a fun experience for me. I appreciate you, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.